Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Helping first responders and their families. Every December, we have a tradition here at the Rob Maness Show to highlight a nonprofit that serves veterans, and we will continue to do that this year. But this year, we're adding a nonprofit that serves first responders and their families. Especially since today is Pearl Harbor Day, we chose this day to highlight our first organization. Many are not aware that it was civilian first responders that responded to fight fires and administer medical attention when the capabilities on the military bases were destroyed in the attack. Civilian firefighters were killed and wounded as they replaced military firefighters at bases like Hickam Airfield on that day. Back the Badge U.S.A. is the organization, and they provide meaningful support to our community's first responders and their families as an expression of appreciation for their protection and service. Back to Badge USA is a nonpartisan, non-political organization. They're established for providing assistance to disabled first responders, scholarships to dependents of the fallen first responders, and continually networking to know, address, and meet the needs of the first responder community, creating access to and making available various resources to first responders and their families. Incoming Back the Badge USA President, retired Marine Master Gunnery Sergeant Mark Luttrell joins me today as my guest. Mark, welcome to the Rob Maness Show, my friend.
Thank you, Colonel Mattis. I appreciate the invitation and thoroughly enjoy your show.
Well, we appreciate that. And folks, just a reminder, this is a live show. So if you make comments on the comment threads, we can see them in our chat thread. And if you have questions for Mark or myself, please feel free to ask. Mark, tell the viewers a little bit about your background and where you're coming from on Back to Badge USA as far as your personal effort to help the organization.
Well, as far as my background is concerned, when I retired from the Marine Corps, I returned to school, attended University College in London, England, got my law degree, returned, had to wait for international transfer of credit, so I worked as a police officer for a few years, received my international transfer of credit, set for the bar, and the rest is history. Served in the Marine Corps, proudly served in the Marine Corps, enjoyed my military days, would gladly do it again. My association with Back the Badge came about, roughly a year ago. In any case, while we were organizing an event up in La Crosse, Wisconsin, had a very successful event and enjoyed working with everybody, both on the local level there and on the national level, and then was recently asked to assume the position of president of Back the Badge USA. So the current president, or the previous president, stepped down. I assumed and have been heading the organization ever since. We're looking at setting up another event in Lake Geneva, probably to be hosted sometime this spring, and we may have a couple of bag events in between time. But the following spring, the organization will host an event in Louisville, Kentucky, the home of the Kentucky Derby. Louisville, Kentucky is rated as Kentucky is rated as the top horse capital in the world as far as horses and horse breeding is concerned.
Yeah.
And Lake Geneva is listed as number 3, so we're trying to tie together the quarter horses and thoroughbreds and bring some help to the police departments in both of those locations. Police, fire departments, paramedics in those areas.
Well, appreciate your service, Mark, and appreciate you stepping up to head this organization. It sounds like a very unique and energetic organization from what I have been able to learn about it. And that's why I wanted to highlight it on the Rob Maness Show in my December highlight of nonprofits that help those that serve us. And speaking of those that served us, as I mentioned in my opening, today is Pearl Harbor Day. And a lot of folks don't realize that civilian first responders, police, fire department, medics, all were served in the response to the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor and the airfields around the islands on December the 7th, 1941. And I don't think we've had an organization like Badge U.S.A. Since then, really. I mean, y'all are fairly new. And just wondering what you think about those sacrifices that they made. I know several died at Hickam Field, firefighters, and about 8 or 9 were wounded fighting the fires after the military firefighters were killed in the attack.
As we discussed last night, Colonel Mattis, why I had a very good friend of mine who retired as a sergeant major in the Marine Corps. He served 35 years, but he graduated from boot camp and was sent to Pearl Harbor. 2 days after arriving at Pearl Harbor, why December 7th hit. What a way to start a 35-year career. But he and I talked about it often, and he said the response of the public was absolutely phenomenal. We did kind of a comparative between us of the welcome home that we got coming back from Vietnam versus what occurred in World War II. And it was a very interesting comparison between the two. Of course, we kind of saw the return of that following Desert Storm of the World War II welcome home. But in any case, why the civilian first responders were absolutely responsible for saving hundreds of lives following the attack on Pearl Harbor. Those included paramedics, police, fire department, even civilian volunteers just came out of the woodwork in order to assist the injured and wounded following the attack on on Pearl Harbor in World War II. It was a devastating day.
Yeah, it was devastating for our country, much like 9/11 was in my time in the military, and I was in the Pentagon on 9/11. And I remember the first responders included people like me who were volunteers to help fight the fires and do medical attention for the wounded and rescue people and those kind of things. In addition to police cars and medics and ambulances just stopping on the side of the road, citizens just stopping on the side of the road and jumping in and risking their lives to help. So, yeah, we greatly appreciate everything they did on December 7th, 1941, and really greatly appreciate that whole generation.
We've actually attempted to model back the badge by the actions of the first responders following the attack on World War II, on Pearl Harbor in World War II. That you've got a staff of strictly volunteer personnel who are aiding, assisting police departments, paramedics, fire departments to provide them with the essential tools that they need that many of these smaller police departments cannot afford. So it's absolutely critical. One of our mottos is the life that you save may be your own in making a donation to the organization.
You're absolutely right. We'll do this a couple times during the show, Mark, but where can people make donations to the organization?
They can make donations through backthebadgeusa.org.
Backthebadgeusa.org,
yes.
Folks. You mentioned a bag event. What does that entail? And I know you've done a few of those. Do you have to be in a certain location, or do you go just about anywhere that there's a U.S. first responder unit?
Well, our goal is to reach every police department, fire department, and paramedic organization in the United States, obviously. But we pick and choose areas. Then we'll try to come up with people willing to host an event within that area. We go in, we aid and assist in fundraising efforts with the locals, and then we do our due diligence with the police departments, fire departments, and paramedic organizations within the area, assess their needs. The bags that I'm discussing are basically first responder trauma bags. They're set up with bandages, tourniquets, everything that a first responder could possibly need to have in their possession in order to save someone's life after a traumatic accident. They even come with a gunshot kit in them. So there's a separate bag for that type of trauma related event. So the bags are very inclusive. We cover about all areas of dealing with trauma wounds and different trauma scenarios that could occur, whether it be an automobile accident, a mugging, an armed robbery, a shooting, whatever it may be, right down to dealing with drug overdose.
Wow, that's quite a bit. What's the cost of the contents of the bag for each one?
Rounded up, each bag cost approximately $400.
Wow. And you generally will go to those small departments that can't afford their own gear and those kinds of things. How do you pick a department or a town to go to?
Well, basically what we do is we either are contacted by someone within the town, many times city councilmen or police chiefs or fire chiefs within the area, who tell us that they have a need. In any case, while we assess the need that they have, we can customize these trauma bags that we supply, and to serve the needs of that particular area if necessary. So that the bags are an ever changing content. So in any case, and then other times we'll just take a look at an area. We realize that they're served by several smaller police departments. What really brought this to light was a good friend of mine is a police officer. And in any case, he got a call from somebody one day. He was off duty, got a call and said that a guy had drug overdosed in the middle of the street outside. Well, Sean jumped in his car, raced to the scene, got to him. Sean did not have a mouth protector to provide CPR, or not CPR, but mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on the guy. And in any case, while he had somebody else assist him administering CPR, and since Sean didn't have a mouth protector, he made a decision to go ahead and administer mouth to mouth anyway. The department was not happy with him as a result of it, and said he shouldn't have done it. And my view with the police department, which I contacted the police chief about, was that look, he had a choice: either take a chance on receiving some kind of disease by doing this, or letting the man die in the street. What do you think he should have done? But this kind of the whole idea of ensuring that police departments and first responders had the materials at hand. A lot of the officers that I knew were buying their own equipment out of their own, simply because the police departments, they weren't in their budget. So that was when the decision was made. Something needed to be done to address this issue.
Yeah, it's fantastic work. We call them bean counters in the Air Force. You got the operations people like me, and folks that work on the airplanes and put bombs on target and those kinds of things. And then you got the bean counters that don't like it when you have to make a decision in the heat of the moment. That is a decision based on a unsatisfactory set of circumstances usually, so there is no right or wrong. And
Well,
I'm glad
the
you
bean
backed that
counters,
guy up.
yeah, the bean counters in the Marine Corps, they didn't care about the bombs you put on target. It was the ones that missed that they had a problem with.
Yeah, I do too, man. I had a lot of problem with bombs that missed for sure. The so the organization also helps disabled first responders. How do you go about doing that?
Well, we create a list each year, primarily from incoming requests for assistance, either by the person themselves or by a family or friend. We assess those. We assess those needs, do a little bit of due diligence, and then we decide how many people that we can take care of those needs for, and which ones are of top priority. The other thing that we do is we also have scholarship programs
Hmm.
for first responders, families, and their children.
Yeah, and how do folks apply for those scholarships?
Once again, they do it online. They'll
Okay.
make an application for a scholarship grant. We review those, assess need once again, and then make a decision based on funding, available funding, as to how much we can do.
And that's at the website Back to Badge USA.
Yes,
Okay, great,
like the
fantastic.
badgeusa.org.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. The How great is the need out there for the disabled population and kids that need to get scholarships to go to college that ordinarily their parent would have paid for it, but now they're disabled.
Within the last year or so, we've had a drastic increase in the number of job injured first responders. Um, and so that need, I'm sure, this past year has increased dramatically following 9/11. Obviously, you had a great deal of
Mm,
need there. So I've got some good friends in Firehouse 10, which was the nearest firehouse to the World Trade Center. Have been up to the World Trade Center remembrance ceremony several times. And we always meet at Suspenders after it's over, in a little bar that seems to be frequented by both police, fire, and also other first responders. And we have one heck of a party in there. So
don't let Bill De Blasio find out. He may get upset.
he never made an appearance, though we did have several of the people that participated in with Simon Cowell on his show,
Hmm.
uh, and they seem to make appearances every year. So
Fantastic.
great bunch of guys up there, though. Really
Yeah.
really enjoyed them. Spent time with their bagpipe corps,
Hmm.
and really a super bunch of guys. Enjoyed it. I enjoy all of my associations with the firefighters and the police departments, and for that matter, EMTs.
Yeah, the New York City Fire Department also, after Katrina, came down here to the Gulf Coast and
Yes, they
especially in
did.
New Orleans in that area and helped, and along with their utility workers and all kinds of folks that are, it's the standard crews, I call them, for disaster response. And
Yes.
they are a great bunch of guys and gals. I've worked with them before, and we really do appreciate them. So Mark, what is on the horizon, the near term horizon, as far as events go for Back to Bed USA?
Well, I predict that we're going to have a very bright future. We're in the midst of fundraising activities right now. I'd like to encourage everyone, if I may, on your show, to go to the badgeusa.org and to donate anything that they could possibly afford. We're not asking anyone to do anything that they can't afford to do. You need to take care of home first, but keep in mind, once again, uh, the life that you save may be your own. You never know when you're going to have a heart attack at the house, or slip and fall, or going to go out to run up to the corner store and have an automobile accident. Uh, so the very life that you save might be your own or a member of your own family, because these officers and first responders have the equipment that they need in their possession to deal with whatever your injury may be.
Absolutely right. We want every officer, every badge wearer, first responder to be kitted out correctly, because, as you have said a couple times now, the life that you save is likely going to be either somebody you know or you're even your own.
Yes.
Are there any other events coming up that you want folks to know about?
Well, we do have the event that's going to be taking place up in Lake Geneva. We have not set a firm date on that event yet. One of our local organizers is out of town. He's at the National Rodeo competition out in Las Vegas right now. And so we're kind of waiting for his return, and we'll get a date established for that event, and move forward with the planning on it. Uh, the events are a lot of fun. We generally try to pair local events with other organizations within the area. For instance, our event that we just hosted up in Wisconsin, we paired up with a child organization called Kicking Bear, and in any case, why it served the needs of both Kicking Bear and Back the Badge. It was a very successful coupling of the two organizations. Got a lot of great word out to people, and raised quite a bit of money. So in any case, uh, the vast majority of the funding that is raised goes directly to support the medical bags themselves, which is the primary reason for our existence.
Outstanding, outstanding. The folks always ask us about charities. What percentage do you spend directly on the first responders and their families versus what you pay for overhead?
Well, since we're strictly a voluntary organization, why we have no salaries that we have to pay. Um, about the only expenses that come out are actual event expenses. For instance, renting restroom facilities uh, for the event, uh, paying for a venue. Usually we can get them donated, sound equipment, that kind of thing. But outside of that, I would say roughly 90% goes directly to the medical bags.
That's fantastic. That's what my viewers are looking for, is 90% directly to the folks at the nonprofits supporting. And that's really good news. I appreciate you being open and transparent about that.
It makes it a whole lot easier to do, Colonel Mattis, if you're being a strictly voluntary organization. We're not
Mhm.
drawing salary or any money out of this.
Yeah.
And so consequently, it makes it much easier to keep those numbers in line with what we want, which is roughly 90% going directly to medical bags.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, if you have one more thing you want to say to folks out there about Back to Badge USA, Mark, as we go to wrap up here, what's your critical message to folks coming into Christmas time and the new year?
Well, obviously, Christmas, the holiday season, is a time for giving. Many of us are very blessed in what we have. Uh, and, all of us work, our entire lives or whatever part of our lives that we used to get what we have. But it's very important. Charity begins at home. And, you know, there's a lot of charities that you can give to. There aren't too many charities that you can give to that may save your life. And Back the Badge USA is there to do exactly that, to support our first responders, their families, their disabilities, and to support the medical trauma kits, which we provide to them, which could very well save your life or the lives of a member of your family or a friend.
Well, sir, thank you very much, and thank the folks for me personally that operate the organization. I've led first responders in my Air Force career as a commander, and been helped by them many, many times, as has my family. And we certainly appreciate them and wish them all the best and a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And likewise for you, Mark, we appreciate you joining us today and giving us some of your valuable time. We will get this out to the folks and hopefully raise some money for y'all and get more equipment into the hands of first responders and more support to scholarships and families and disabled first responder veterans. We certainly appreciate you.
Thank you, Colonel Maness, and a special holiday hello to you and to your family. I'd like to take a minute to thank you for your service and your continued service to this country. It does not go without notice. So thank you again, and thank you for your support of Back the Badge USA.
Absolutely. I hope to make this an annual thing for you guys, just like we do with our veterans nonprofits. And I look forward to watching what you do and helping y'all throughout the coming years. And God bless you, Mark, and God bless everybody out there. And Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you,
Merry
Mark.
Christmas to you as well, sir. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. Well, folks, there you have it. Back the Badge USA. I will post the donation link into the comments on the Facebook pages and on the Twitter deal. And when we publish the episode, we'll also do the same thing again and on all the other social media that the link gets published to on Thursday. That's it for the Rob Maness Show for the week of December 7th, 2021, Pearl Harbor Day. Pray for those that lost their lives on that day and pray for our country that it regains the wisdom that the greatest generation gave to us. Until next week, I'm Rob Maness.